So we're going to go straight back in, and I've changed the brush to a 2-0 round, and I'm just going to put some areas in around the top of the head here very quickly, just suggest the light. And we're going to come in over the ear there. That's nice, not too much. And we're going to put a little bit of raw sienna now and a little bit of burnt sienna, maybe a little bit of white, just to pick up a little bit more opaque colour. Not too much, we don't want to overdo it. Just going to go back in with a little bit of this blue just on this side here where it's starting to turn around towards the face. This is very thin washes, almost transparent glazes going over the whole thing. You can actually warm some of this up in here too, very quickly. Taking it up into that crest there. And just underneath. Now the eye sockets themselves still need a little tweak with regards to that part there, just the skin under there. It's nice, just bring that through. That's good, okay, that's nice. And then just come down to the side of the cheek. The cheek is almost done. We're just going to put in a little bit more of this light colour. We could actually probably change to a flat brush and make this even quicker, and just make it a little more looser as we come down. That's fine, I think that's good. A few side flicks just to suggest a little bit of movement going on in there. And you can make a little dark mix in there as well, a little richer, a little warmer. Just a little bit into there. Okay, I'm just going to wash the brush out. Just put this muzzle white in. Now I'm using the round again, and I'm going to put a little bit of the Naples yellow to the mix. Not too much. Just strengthen this muzzle white around here. That's nice, not too wet. That's getting a little too wet. Okay, so we are now working on the nose area, which again, you have to pay a lot of care to. And this is where we're just going to finish off the blaze on the dog. And it doesn't matter if you've not quite got this exactly right, because as I said before, these blazes alter with one dog and another, like a fingerprint. They're never the same on two dogs. Now we're going to just put a little glaze over the nostril, and we're going to use burnt sienna and a little bit of raw sienna. That doesn't need to be too much, and maybe a little bit of cadmium red light into that. Put the colour in over the nostril, just over the whole area, and I'm going to change the brush back to a number 2 flat, and I'm just going to put a few marks with the alizarin crimson and the cobalt blue and a little bit of red. I'm just going to bring that into the side of this paw and just drag it down with my finger. Just a few subtle transitions in here from the blue to the red makes all the difference when it comes to showing the shadows and against the white areas. What I'm doing is I'm just using the red against the blue just to push in some other marks, mix it up a little bit. We don't want the whole thing completely uniform. Now hopefully that nose will be dry, and we can put in a little bit of a cobalt and red mix. Now this will shift the purple to a more of a muddy purple. And we're just going to put in a little piece on the side of the muzzle, and then we're just going to use the same mix around the edge of this muzzle to give it a little bit of depth through here. We're pretty much done there. We just need to do a few fine tweaks when that's dry. So now I'm going to add the whiskers. So I'm going to use a number 2 rigger, and I'm going to use 2 types of colour for the whiskers. Now what you've got is you've got a shadow side of the whiskers, and they're going to be in a nice violety blue, and then you've got the hot side, or what I call the sunlit side, and you've got a nice white. So don't make the mix too wet, because if you do that, then you're not going to get a nice strong violet shape. That's that side done. Okay, and now we're going to go to the other side, and we're going to put in some lovely bright marks, and we're going to put them in very simply. There we go. I'm just going to put a little bit there, which shows a little bit of reflected light coming up under there, and a little bit of light here and there. So it looks like we've got this nice white blaze coming off. And while we come down with that, we can just few hair marks with this rigger. Just need a little bit of definition around this nostril, and a little bit over the top of there. Now redefine just where we've lost it in here. Just put that back in, just put that one back in, and I think the nose is done. Just reform the side of the muzzle and the mouth just like so. We have to make sure that this does look like it's hair and not just changes of colour. Literally blend some of this body as we come down The thing is that there aren't any hard edges between these blues and these whites. We need to just soften some of them off. And we can do that with the rigger because it does lend itself to being nice and pliable bristles, so that we can almost draw some of these subtle colours in. If you have two riggers, you can have one loaded with pale colour and one loaded with really vibrant yellow whites. And we can just add to the hair. And this is quite a fast process. You don't really need to think too much about it. Just redefining the edges, softening edges, losing edges. Of course, the most important edges are those of the focal point of the painting. And so those would be the ones that you have sharpest. Refine all of this down here into the leg, coming all the way down. And again, little flicks, lots of little flicks. It really can't hurt having all these little colours. And this is where we can start finishing off the painting to make it look like the paw and the fur. We will go on down here, and this is important. We make sure that this leg doesn't lose any definition as it comes through and into the grasses. Now quickly, I'm going to use a small round. I'm holding several brushes in my hand, but I'm just using the small number 2 round. I'm going to put a bit of burnt umber and a little bit of cobalt blue together. Just going to put some little areas that are the marks of the dog itself, little spots that they carry. All these marks, they're all very, very different. They all vary on each animal, so you can make them up almost as you wish to make them look. And just quickly put some marks in here, and then coming down into the shadows where the dog leg will disappear into the grasses. And I just want to grab a little bit more colour in under this part, and just scumbling it, dry brush scumble, into that area there, into the chest, almost forming it with my fingers as I go. Okay. Now we're just going to put a little bit more pale blue into here to suggest some of the longer hair that's in the chest area. Just going to suggest that as it comes down and gets lost. It has really worked well, as it were. And we're just going to put some nice little flicks of fur into there. We are nearly home and dry. We could put a little more light up into the ear if you wanted to do that. Just going to a few areas like that. Now the very last part we're going to do, and this I need the rigger for, and this is the bit where you can be as creative as you wish. We're going to make a nice mix of a fresh cadmium yellow light. We're going to use some cerulean blue, and we're going to use white to taste. And I say white to taste because white will cool that green. It's a very loud green. And we need to make 2 versions. We've got a very bright one, and then we're going to go in with some yellow and some ultramarine blue. Large and small, arbitrary marks. The rigger really lets itself off for this. So if we just visualize grasses in our head, we can bring this round and do a few flicks up over the legs, across the legs. What you don't want to do is loads of individual marks across. It looks so false. And I'm just going to wash my brush and dry it a little. I'm going into the dark side. This is where we can pick up some of these really bright marks as they catch the sun. They're not following on exactly in the path of the other ones. They will go across them. They will make different shapes. I think we're done. I think that's good. I'm really happy with that. We can all spend a lot more time refining the picture that we've got, but for this I'm really happy with it. That brings us to the end of this painting of the Springer Spaniel. Now I've enjoyed painting it for you, and I hope you enjoy painting it too. So until the next time.
Now available to buy. Try these techniques at home whenever you wish. The extended DVD of today's workshop and the book that accompanies this series are now available from the Painting and Drawing channel. For further information and to order your copy, go to www.paintingdrawingchannel.com.